Hello again, and welcome back to Subs Like Dubs Like, a comprehensive anime podcast. It is your host, none other than I, myself, Jay, aka Versace Vegeta, and I am here with my brother, my dog, my fellow host, D. What's happening with you, bro?
Hey, yo, what's going on? It's your favorite brother D. What's going on, brother J? Yo, viewers, listeners, whatever. We are back yet again. I told you wasn't going nowhere. I gotta
Never
believe
will.
us.
That's right, man. And we're still really going strong into this second season of Subs Like Dubs Like, discussing the Saiyans. We've got quite a bit left too in the tuck. So please stick around and stay tuned with us as we discuss the Saiyans through and through. But before we move on with this season, my dog D, tell me how you been, how you doing?
Man, I've been great. You know what I'm saying? A little bit tired, but you know how that goes when you put in some effort into things. So, but for the most part, again, life has been really good to me. Cannot complain. Been having fun. Even with it being tired, I still managed to have a smile on my face. So that's always
You got
good.
to, man. You got to,
Yeah.
especially in these times, man.
Oh,
Absolutely got to.
absolutely. So that's been for the most part, same old. Like we get into it. So make a lasting final impression before winter allegedly ends. But
I
'cause
feel that,
we
man.
know about this global warming ass weather. Like I don't know
For real.
what it
Like
be on.
it felt like it was colder today than it had been in weeks.
Bro, I thought it was gonna snow, and I'm still thinking it will.
Oh
But
gosh. Here's
and
hoping it don't, man.
I need it not to. It's like I don't have the patience for that. But other than that, you know what I've been watching, bro?
What you been watching, dog?
I've been watching the Dragon Ball Z movies again.
Okay.
That's
My
so
man been running back
crazy.
that season 1 content, bro.
I ran it back, man. I ran back Tree of Might, and for the most part, I still like it.
Yeah.
So that's always cool. And
Which version did you watch? Did you watch the Japanese? Did we watch the Malaysian dub? Did we watch the English dub?
Now that I think about it, I should have watched the Malaysian, but nah, I watched the Japanese joint.
Okay.
And really, I was only planning on just watching the credits because I wanted to hear the song in the end credits.
Oh yeah.
That shit goes stupid. So then after I finished that, I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and watch the Bardock joint. Because I never I was like, for the most part, for these end credits, I've never watched the credits. I'm like, you know what? Back then, my attention span, I'm not really do all that shit. And it's not like it's no damn Marvel movie is like at the end of the credits, there's something special that's gonna happen. Back then, like now, shit, you gotta stick around to see some shit for Dragon Ball. But
that's true.
The end credits are really good, man. I
My man Kageyama was a boss on all those things.
That boy got them vocals on it, man. He is a god. I flat out was like, you know what? This dude might need a statue out there in Japan. I don't know what they doing, but he should be heralded as anime royalty. Cause man, oh man, which, so great. But yeah, it was cool to knock out a movie and a TV special. That shit still good. Surprisingly, two pieces of media that feature Saiyans really good. Shocker. But
yeah,
other than that, that's been my good old lively week update. How about you, brother Jay? What's been going on, man?
Man, not too much. Just been deep into some projects with work. I don't want to get too much into all that, but just really been tapped into moving forward with some things in my career. Pretty good period of time for me. I will say that much.
Yes, sir.
Beyond that, man, yeah, it's been a pretty simple week as well. You know, you say you were watching Dragon Ball Z movies and specials and whatnot. I had a pretty similar week too. I wound up watching Dragon Ball Superhero again for the first time in a long time. The digital release of that did drop recently, and if you were lucky enough to catch it, it was available for the low price of $3 on Amazon when they
Yeah,
initially dropped it. So I was able to nab the dubbed version and the sub version both for those $3 prices. It felt pretty good to be able to just run that back $3. You know what I
shit
mean? We've
is
seen it enough
crazy.
times. Listen, as many times as I paid to see it in theater, like I think I saw it like 3 times. Like, yeah, I think I deserve a little break to be able to own it forever for $3. Uh,
Yeah,
but
facts.
beyond that, man, I also went ahead and watched not Bardock, the father of Goku, but episode of Bardock, the short special that came out about 10, 11 years ago, which is a sort of what if story about events that would have happened with Bardock after the father of Goku special. We'll be getting into that a little bit later on, but really interesting little short 15-minute special that came out a while back. Man, it was pretty fun. But I've also did, instead of watching Bardock, the father of Goku, I replayed the DLC in Dragon Ball Z Kakarot.
Ooh.
And I mean, it is pretty much, if we're talking about just actual content put into it, one for one, that actual special.
Oh
You get
yeah,
some pretty fun other details like Team Bardock trying out for the Ginyu Force.
that that's
Little stuff like that, man.
yeah, that was fun as hell.
It really was. I thought the moments that you have in that DLC were really, really goofy and really silly, but um, also just perfect as a way to portray that exact special of Dragon Ball Z. And then, of course, you have the little side story where you get to play as little tiny chibi Vegeta.
Yeah, that's like the coolest shit ever to me, man. When I saw that, I was like, yo, Brother Jay's gonna love this when he gets the chance to play it.
Bro, and I really did, man. His rivalry with Kui, the Cyberman fight, man, like
Like,
everything where he's in, and he's not in that special very much, but
exactly.
it's portrayed enough to really give you some good content out of it. And I'm a big fan of that DLC, even though there's not too much. Like once you're done with that story,
It's over.
you can level up Bardock a little bit more to awaken some new techniques and abilities. But beyond that, not too much. But
Yeah.
uh, for a pretty short week, that has filled it, and it was enjoyable enough for me, man. I'm looking forward to some new games that are coming out. So and I got to play Wolong a little bit. Got my ass beat, but Wolong Fallen Dynasty came out recently, and
Yes, it did.
man, I am just constantly reminded with every Souls type game that I wind up playing, I'm not good at them. I'm just not.
Man, brother, I booted that game up on my PC and that joint run like junk. I'm sorry.
Really.
It ran like junk. I don't know what's the deal with Koei Techno. I don't know why they run PC ports like it's the PS3 and Xbox 360 era PC
That's
games.
trash.
But man, oh man, maybe they updated it, but I refuse. I'm not running it back. And the funny part is, I have it on Game Pass, so it'd be free for me to download it back. I'm so
Yeah,
bro.
definitely try it on your Series X or something, man.
Yeah,
Like,
I probably will.
because I
That's
played it
just
on there and it runs really smooth. Like I will say, like I enjoyed every fight with every enemy leading up to the boss was great. This is the first time in a Souls game that I didn't die until I got to the boss. So I was like, this might be my game. And then I got to the boss. And then I died against him 35 times. And like I got to a loop where eventually I was leveling up more by dying and going back and beating all the enemies that got respawned because I died and get into it. But I was still like, I went up like 5 levels doing that. I still wasn't enough to beat this man. So I was like, okay, listen, bro, I don't have the patience for this.
Watch
So
the shit on YouTube.
maybe one day when I got some time, maybe on the stream or something like that, man.
Yeah.
It was not a fun time losing to that man. I'll put it that way.
Hey, getting
But
packed up in the game ain't never fun, man. I don't care what anybody says. That should be embarrassing.
and dog, that's the thing, bro. You get packed up in a game, even if it's nobody around. You get packed up in a game 10 times in a row, 15 times in a row. And you just be sitting there thinking, like, bro, what am I doing with my time?
Yeah.
Like, I could be enjoying something right now. Like,
Exactly.
this hurts my soul. This is soul crushing. I hated it. But no, it was pretty fun. I will say, like, other than losing a ton of time, I did enjoy my gameplay loop. But all that aside, man, this week I'm proud to discuss one of my favorite Saiyans of all time with you, dog.
Yes, sir.
We got the father of Goku himself, the man that both Dee and I prepped for all week, Mr. Bardock. Man, this week we're going to be diving in a little bit differently than usual. We're going to discuss what makes Bardock different in each of his portrayals. Because one could say Bardock is the most inconsistent character in all of Dragon Ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, as far as like major character goes, he's not someone who we have in the forefront fighting alongside our heroes. Like, yeah, like he's background. We know he's the father of Goku, but every time that he's brought up, he's important to the story. But every time he gets brought up, something changes about him.
Yeah.
Be it for better or for worse.
Yeah. Always something new. Jesus.
So I want to go into what we love about Bardock, what we may not love so much about what has changed about Bardock, and ultimately what makes the father of Goku the greatest stand-in that we could have for his actual father outside of Son Gohan.
Yeah.
So kick back, relax. If you got something else going on, put us on in the background because we're going to get into it this week as we discuss Bardock, the father of Goku, here on Subsly Dubsly.
Bardock, a soldier in Frieza's Saiyan army, has just saved the universe.
Kakarot! Remember that name!
Only he doesn't know it yet.
It's Frieza! He's coming for us!
Take heart, Bardock. A savior has been born.
Toonami presents DBZ Movies. Bardock, the father of Goku. This Friday at 6.
You coward! Come out and fight me!
So the first time we're ever introduced to Bardock, and I don't want to talk about the dub where he's the great scientist Bardock that invented
the brilliant. Your father was
false-
a brilliant scientist. That's the
he
wild.
developed the false moon, right?
Man, that might be the biggest conversion I had into the whole dubs. These dubs really be lying, man, because that's egregious. I don't care what anybody says. That's an egregious line.
Absolutely just terrible. Like, I don't understand why Ocean Dub made that up when they did. But yeah, Bardock never, ever a scientist. Always been a man who's down for the scrap. When it comes to him, though, like I said, first time we're introduced to him in Dragon Ball Z within any sort of mention, we're getting this flashback of these various Saiyans having to fight against Frieza, who was about to destroy the planet. And there's this Goku looking one right with everybody. And you can pretty much figure in that moment, that's who Goku's father was. Now, D, your take on our original Takao Koyama Bardock.
That boy was
I gotta know.
That boy was cool, man. I always thought, like, for the most part, it was like everything I wanted to see in Goku somehow, some way, like just little intricate parts in Goku. But like maybe like subconsciously, I enjoyed Goku's character for what it was. But there's probably back then there was a part of me that liked the old edgy characters and
Oh hell yeah.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? We all got that time period.
We all been 13.
Yeah, exactly. So, seeing Bardock just like this guy, this grimacing smile, and he's just over there running shit, just killing motherfuckers in cold blooded. I'm like, oh man, this guy is him. So Koyama did not mess up my boy Bardock at all.
I agree. He was somebody who you could tell just in how he was portrayed. He had a great sense of leadership, not in the sense that he was this like dope ass leader who inspired everybody around him. Though Dragon Ball Z Kakarot would have you believe that much about him. And I really do enjoy that we get a more fleshed out portrayal of my guy in that DLC. But in the original TV special, he's a hard ass and he basically demands the respect of his team of Tora, Fasha, Borgos, and Shugesh. Of course, that's their dub names. We don't have to go into everything else. But when it comes to Team Bardock, they are a great add-on to him. They're a great accessory to that character.
Yeah.
Because they're all clearly mercenaries who don't give a fuck. Right?
Yeah, boy.
The moment you're introduced to them in their attack on planet Kanasa, it's like, yo, these dudes don't play around. They just straight up turned into great apes and fucked up everything the moment they got there. And if it wasn't for that one Kanasan, giving Bardock the future sight, it just would have been another regular day for them.
Yeah.
I really, really have enjoyed the way that Bardock just commands every scene that he's in within the Father of Goku special, because Masako Nozawa's portrayal of Bardock over the years, I feel like as she's gotten older, has just gotten better.
Yeah.
But because her, that voice has just gotten gruff. But that first time we're introduced to Bardock, I was just like, this dude right here is a hard ass. Like, this is Raditz's dad. You know what I'm saying? Like, Goku's dad clearly is son Gohan, just based on how he was raised. But he's rude, he's crass. He straight up mentions just immediately, he doesn't give a damn about Kakarot. Look at this low-level kid, man. Like, okay, cool. Whatever they do with him, that's cool, I guess.
Yeah. Shit is some real, if anybody is the deadbeat, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is the deadbeat guy. Like,
hell yeah.
That boy don't give two shits, which is insane. It's a power level 1, so you just garbage. Tough.
And it's like, we know Bardock was exceptionally strong amongst other Saiyan warriors at that time before the destruction of Planet Vegeta, because even his power level being near 10,000 was mentioned while he was healing after the battle on Kanasa. But it's something where we see this dude that is the example of why Frieza wants to get rid of the Saiyans. Because the moment that the Doria's crew turns on his team on Planet Meat, he's ready to say, like, listen, I'm not falling in line to this Frieza motherfucker. Y'all turned on us?
Yeah.
Something's got to be done about y'all.
Yeah, exactly. Like, let's get this shit about. Like, no, sir, I'm not with none of that.
At this point now, we're given what's known as like the birth of the greatest attribute that the Dragon Ball Z version of Bardock has. And that's his will. Because let's just face it, he got jumped on Planet Meat, dude. Like he was in tatters by the time he was on his way back to Planet Vegeta. But the fact that he was like, yo, look, everybody, Frieza's on his way to fuck everything up. This reason why he's calling for everybody here. And they're just like, bruh, why would Frieza destroy us? Like
on some really, really nasty work, man. Where's your trust in your fellow Saiyan? I thought these guys were like intertwined. And, you know what I'm saying? You would easily believe somebody it's not trying to like, come on, bro. Or are you gonna put your trust in Frieza over your fellow Saiyan? That's disgusting.
And it's really wild because even once he faces off against Frieza, there's no like pride in him being a Saiyan mentioned. There's no sense of like, I'm going to do this to, defend my planet or anything like that. It's just the fact that he realizes Frieza's turned against them and somebody has to fight against this shit based on the visions that he's seeing of what he doesn't even realize yet is his son Kakarot facing off against Frieza later on down the line. And he's just facing this hopeless battle, He's like, yo, like, this dude's really about to kill all of us. Somebody's got to do something.
Somebody like, yo, I'm not about to just go out sad like this. Like, at least I could say I went out like I had some pride. Like I had something. I wasn't some idiot. I wasn't some mark. I wasn't no pick me for Frieza. Like, I'm gonna be the one that, hey, he's gonna remember someday that it was this dude that stood up to me. He got smoked, but there was a dude that stood up to me. And at least try to do something about my rule of terror that I was gonna do and establish on these monkey boys.
That's it, right? Because like Frieza at this point, he's like, look, yeah, I was kind of scared about that Super Saiyan shit for a little bit, but these motherfuckers gone. I got a couple in my roster to help do some fights for me. That's about it, man. I don't need no more.
They get the best of the motherfuckers who could possibly be that legend and con them into being like real soldiers for him. Nasty work.
Yeah. It is extremely nasty work, dog. And to see that in the end, Bardock was the only one willing to fight against that shit. Mind you, he knew, right? And nobody else believed him, but still, really tough motherfucker. My favorite of the old school Saiyans. Because, I mean, anytime we saw King Vegeta, he was getting his ass beat and bootlicking. There wasn't nothing to like about him.
Yeah, it's just embarrassing that all the cool shit is just off screen things. Like him leading the Saiyans to winning the war against stuff like that's some off screen shit. You didn't really see much about it. You just heard about it. Other than that boy a bootlicker. He just praises Vegeta Jr. and that's about it. He stinks.
Now, from that point where we do know Bardock gets killed against Frieza, there is an alternate telling of this same event where my man Bardock winds up getting sent to the past. That shit is by that blast. Like there's no other way to put it.
Yo, the death ball was a goddamn. Apparently you can get hit with a death ball. Your ass is going all the way back in the past. I did not know it was a time machine.
Yeah, somehow Frieza's death ball can just send you straight into hundreds of years into the past rather than killing you. It's really interesting how that worked. I wish I had an answer as to how or why it happened that way. But my man Bardock winds up getting sent a good 1,000 years back, all the way to where he's now just found in this random village on this planet by these little big head aliens. Like, I don't know what else to call it, right? These little guys are around, they're tending to Bardock's wounds. And he goes, "Where am I?" And they tell him, "You're in a village on Planet Plant." And he's like, "Yo, like Planet Plant, ain't that for Planet Vegeta's old name?" You know what I'm saying? And then they tell him like, "Yo, hey, we got some ointment we can put on your wounds." And he realizes the ointment is the same as the healing gel that's in Frieza's, healing capsules. Long story short, even though this version of Bardock is essentially the same guy in the beginning where he's, refusing direct help from the Plantians. We see him warm up to a small child that's bringing him food and medicine along the way to make sure that, Bardock's healed as he's living and doing push-ups in a cave. And then around that point in time, Chilled, a member of Frieza's family, shows up. Now, D, when you saw this whole story, what were you expecting for this to go with? Because, obviously we just had this one little short story. There's not going to be much, but take us back to your thoughts when you originally saw the episode of Bardock.
Episode of Bardock, I'm like, man, listen, what could possibly happen for you guys to bring back this dude in a major showing? So apparently this was just, hey, I know you guys like Bardock. Let's show you what it would be like if he actually did something against Frieza, but not Frieza at the same time. So that it was, for the most part, it was just something cool. No, nobody. It's short as hell, so it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like whatever, just some what if bullshit for the most part. And
it's wild because that what if bullshit has split off to just so many different happenings in the continuity of extra Dragon Ball media that this is the most important non-canon piece of media in Dragon Ball, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Because eventually Chilled, the space pirate, lands on planet Plant, and Bardock defeats two of his emissaries that are sent there first. And after about a week, Chilled is like, yo, the dudes I sent haven't come back. So he goes down there looking for him, and Bardock, defending a small child named Barry on the planet, winds up turning Super Saiyan. And when he defeats Chilled, in Chilled's last dying words, he says, tell my family to beware of Saiyans that can turn golden.
I'm so sorry. But yet again, even though this is just a minor scratch on anything DBZ related, the use of time travel yet again shows its face in an ugly manner in the history of Dragon Ball. It don't matter if it's a special, don't matter if it's canon or not. Like, his shit is bad. This shit bad. It's cool. Like, seeing Bardock turn Super Saiyan, that was cool or whatever, but under no circumstances should that shit have happened. I don't care.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, mind you, just to set the tone on this is a version of Bardock that we were first really just introduced to in Dragon Ball Heroes. And episode of Bardock was created as a spin-off scenario based on the scenario where Bardock turned Super Saiyan in Dragon Ball Heroes. But the reason I want to bring up this version of Bardock is one that's even different, is because this is where everything splits off for all the different pieces of media, like in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, where we have Timebreaker Bardock, right? And it's another storyline where instead of Bardock dying to Frieza's death ball, Mira winds up saving him through a portal. And through putting a Timebreaker mask on him, he winds up fighting on their side. Kind of. Throughout time. To face off against the Timebreakers and your character within Xenoverse 2. But I can say honestly, that was the coolest part of playing Xenoverse 2. Was this new version of Bardock who can go Super Saiyan in 2 and 3. And it's just like, yo, like I survived against Frieza, but now I'm going throughout time as a warrior to fight against y'all until my mask breaks, and now I'm on your side. Like,
yeah.
and this is a completely different version of Bardock in the sense that like there's no like rhyme or reason as to why he fights. He's just a badass.
He's just doing shit. He's just doing shit that's cool.
Because of the fact that this Bardock is like loosely based on the Dragon Ball Z version, but just isn't as bloodthirsty or cutthroat, right? We have this version of Bardock that kind of changed what people's portrayal of him was over time. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, fair, for a fact.
Because now you don't have people that are really so familiar with only the Dragon Ball Z version of Bardock that was in the Father of Goku special. We have now a version of Bardock that's just been introduced in all different forms of media where he is just, like I mentioned earlier, just a tough badass. And it doesn't take away from his character at all. It's just, you can almost say like this guy is Goku light, right?
Yeah.
He's Goku's in terms of this level of power and the cool things that he can do, but there's no like reason behind why he fights. It's just like, yeah, well, y'all need a guy. I'm that guy.
Exactly.
Right. And for better or worse, this version of Bardock for a very long time, like I said earlier, was really how a lot of people saw him until we got to a point where my man Toriyama decided one day, yo, I think I want to retell the entire story of how Goku was sent to Earth. And we had Dragon Ball Minus.
It's so hilarious. It's so hilarious. Yo, like this man Toriyama's mind state is like, you know what? Let me just take some random, like just a random day to myself. You know what? I'm just gonna redo shit that the studio did for myself, and that's it. Which is cool. I like that, man.
I really like that he did take the edge off Bardock that we had been given in this new version that we gotten through the games, and sort of based that as his blank slate for the new Bardock. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, for a fact. Nice, good old deconstruction.
Yeah, because he's still a badass, right? He's still like a guy who's exceptionally strong in the Saiyan warrior race.
Yeah.
But he isn't someone who comes off as a mercenary anymore.
Nope.
You know, when we're introduced to him, he's just, yeah, he's in a battle against other aliens on another planet, but like that's just what Saiyans do.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
we don't see him like on a bloodthirsty mission or anything like that.
Yeah, those are nah.
And even once we're shown the newly restored version of the story of Goku being sent to Earth, us finding out about Goku's mom and Bardock's wife, Gine,
Yeah.
it's something where they make sure to set the tone that Bardock and Gine are not like other Saiyans. Like most Saiyans, they procreate for the fact that they have to.
Mm-hmm.
Bardock and Gine have coupled together because, for lack of a better way to say it, they have feelings for one another, which is interesting when you compare it to just other Saiyans on the planet, right? Like Gine's a more gentle-natured Saiyan who really, you know, someone who like takes care of Bardock and their son Raditz, and intends to baby Kakarot in his little pod, right?
Mm-hmm.
But any other Saiyans that had ever been like put together, like it was something that like, you know, they don't give a damn, right? You know,
Yeah.
It's a lot like how the original version of Bardock was presented to us, where even when, you know, Goku was born, he was like, oh, my kid, that's cool. Whereas this version of Bardock that we have in Dragon Ball Minus, once he finds out about Frieza's scheme, he's like, yo, let's get my son out of here.
Yeah.
You know, like we gotta, I think we should give the kid a chance to a future. And he's directly involved with Kakarot being sent to Earth, as opposed to it just being a happenstance sort of thing that happens while Bardock was gone. I think that sort of intention that's been added to Bardock's character is what then sets the tone for what we find out about Bardock in the Granola arc in Dragon Ball Super's manga, right? Because this is now where we come to realize that this guy, he ain't Dragon Ball Z Bardock at all.
Yeah,
wouldn't you agree?
This was, we're not even going with that because we understand that's what was cool back then in the 90s and things of that nature. Yeah, we're not doing the same one. We're not. We're actually trying to develop characters and we're trying to be beyond just certain tropes. So this ain't even close to my boy in the 90s at all.
And it's wild because the way we're even introduced to Bardock being in the manga, we see him as a great ape attacking planet cereal. And it's just like, oh shit, yeah, no, that's the type of shit we would have known the original Bardock to be on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But then we're given more of a fleshed out story as to his reason for being on that planet, reasons why he stayed past that initial attack that we saw, right? He winds up facing off against the Heaters, who were other forces that are Frieza's mercenaries, you could say, right?
Yeah.
And Bardock winds up defending one of the last pair of mother and child, Granola and his mother, who are the survivors of the Cerulean race. And it's just interesting that when we're introduced to Granola, like this is a guy who like absolutely hates the Saiyans because he doesn't remember any of these events. But we have someone who was a defender for one child's life who he had never met, right? Like was just like did what he felt was right because his only thought was that I have to win this battle and make sure that my kids are able to live on, right? Like he was doing what he just felt was the right thing, as opposed to, you know, when the offshoot of Dragon Ball Z Bardock in episode of Bardock was defending the Plantians, it was because he was pushed to a corner.
Yeah.
You know, like Chilled and his folks showed up. He even told them, I don't care if y'all die. Like, that doesn't have anything to do with me.
It's none of my business.
He really only cared once he saw a guy that looked like Frieza. But this is a Bardock that isn't driven by revenge. This is a Bardock who's driven by his will to win. And that will is so strong that it drives him to face off against a member of the Heaters by the name of Gas, who's way more powerful than Bardock. And he drives Bardock into a corner where he asks Bardock straight up, like, why are you fighting? You know, like, is it some revenge that you want to get for me putting you in this situation? Is it you wanting to atone for what the Saiyans have done? And Bardock simply responds by what is now the new meaning of Saiyan pride. That when you're in a life or death battle, the only thing that matters is to win.
Yeah, exactly.
The only thing that matters is to fight for your convictions. And in this moment in his life, his conviction was that there is an enemy to beat. That one frame of mind, which Goku winds up, you know, seeing through a scouter message many years later, that sets the tone for how even Vegeta and Goku view themselves now. And it's such a huge difference in the versions of Bardock that we've always seen that I'm really, really excited that even though this is a character who in the future we probably won't have any more other iterations, they probably one and done it at this point, right?
Easily.
But in every version that we've seen of Bardock over time, there is just a different aspect of his character that stands out and is just like, whoa, like he's that guy. It doesn't matter whether it's the version that we have of Bardock in Dragon Ball Minus and Dragon Ball Super, who we see is a little bit more caring, but stands for his convictions, versus the version of Bardock that we see in episode of Bardock, who is fighting clearly just for revenge, and the version of Bardock that we have in Dragon Ball Z, who is just a bloodthirsty mercenary. All of them are him. You know, like they all bring out qualities that make them stand apart from all the other Saiyans. Like, yes, Goku and Vegeta have adopted Bardock's ideology of what Saiyan pride is now, but it wasn't what made them themselves all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it wasn't their defining quality. And that's what I really fuck with this new version of Bardock for more than any. Like, I always joke now and say, oh, he's a Universe 6 Saiyan, because Universe 6 Saiyans are so, you know, righteous.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And I know a lot of people don't rock with the wish that he made, or the wish that he told Naito that he would make, right?
Yeah.
To have his kids be able to live on. And it basically doesn't mean that like everything that ever happened to Goku was because of this wish. It just means that they were able to thrive enough to where they grew up,
Exactly.
right? And that's enough for any parent to wish for their child, really. And he just was lucky enough to have a dragon actually go through with it for him.
Mm-hmm.
But these takes on Bardock all have just, like I said, now I always want to come back to it. They have these different qualities about them that stand out, that even at their core, it's like, yeah, I can buy that this guy is Goku's dad. What do you think about that? I want to get your thoughts a little bit.
For the most part, I'm just happy that a character like Bardock can actually play a monumental part in this story. Like, obviously, when we're introduced to him in the 90s, and even in the Super Dragon Ball Broly movies, like, okay, we know that he's the one that sends Goku off to Earth. But now, again, he's defining what Saiyan pride is. You know, he's more of the character that not only is being developed, but he's also developing characters themselves. So that's always good. And, you know, he also gives us the moment that I've always wanted to see, like Goku remembering his parents. Like, this, for the most part, this version of Bardock, big dub. What a big dub.
And personally, I always thought this was be impossible to get more on Bardock beyond what we already had, because, you know, Dragon Ball never used flashbacks like that
at all. And we always, except for the most part, like Toriyama and just Dragon Ball in general, just has a thing of just introducing a character or a concept and then just immediately killing it afterwards. So for them to bring back Bardock in this manner and then make him that much important, they got it.
I mean, I remember this man even saying years ago in an interview, like, yeah, you know, like there would probably be no reason for us to ever go back to Bardock as a character because he's not that strong. There's everything we've already did with this story. There's not much more we can do. And somehow Toyotaro got it out of him.
the one good thing about that man, Toyotaro, is that he never forgets the specials or the movies. Like, something that I've noticed, even with the panels that he does, like they're usually like tributes to the movies and things of that nature. So I'm glad for the first time you're hearing me on Subs Lie, Dubs Lie say this. Toyotaro did an amazing thing by not letting that die.
Toyotaro, thank you for keeping the feeling around, bro. Thank you for restoring the feeling. We really, really needed that, because some of Dragon Ball's extended content is some of their best content. Let's be real.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't get as remembered, but in us circling the block with some of those ideas, we're able to get way better versions of characters now than we ever had. Bardock being the biggest example of that. So, my dog, we have the very different renditions of Bardock over the years. Of course, through Dragon Ball Z, episode of Bardock, the games, and through Dragon Ball Super. So, I want to know, man, tell me, first off, what's your favorite version of Bardock in all of his appearances? And what's your favorite memories of the character that stand out the most for you?
All right, so this might come off as recency bias, but the manga version of Bardock, I really enjoy a lot because, again, what we were given in the beginning in the 90s, just okay, badass character.
Yeah.
And minus slash Broly movie, really just a good Samaritan ass nigga. So it's like, okay, now we finally got somebody who's a mix of both. Like he's not that. He's still a Saiyan soldier, and he's still stern, but he has compassion. He has great care for folks. So that's to me, that's always what I wanted out of Bardock. Some not one dimensional. You know what I'm saying, and can actually be of service and of use to the plot going forward.
That's very true.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm very big on the fact that him giving meaning to saying pride and just influencing Goku later on, like so many years later, that's very monumental. So I'm always gonna pick this as my favorite Bardock. Don't get me wrong, the 90s, that was so cool. I'm not gonna lie, as a teen, I replayed that over and over and over and over again. Shit, look, our freaking ending on our intro for the pod was Solid State Scouter. So
that's right.
Like, what I'm
Nothing
saying?
but Bardock loves is
So
truly dedicated in this whole show.
So it's not like animosity or hate. It's just taking that character that we loved and then them just expanding on that. So that's I'm always gonna root for this rendition of Bardock, and I hope I don't know if it's possible that they can still continue to talk about him, but if they can going forward in the manga, that'd be cool. I ain't gonna lie. And my favorite moment of Bardock, hilariously enough, is not in the super manga, but it is indeed in the first introduction of Bardock.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Listen, when he goes and fights the Doria,
yeah.
Just tying the headband with blood. I'm like, yeah, he's him. He's him.
That Solid State Scouter plays right there, man.
Yeah.
And he just takes off, dog.
Yeah.
He goes off on the Doria.
I'm like, this is where like I can respect the character a lot more than what he was introduced as.
Yeah.
Like, at least he's honorable. You know what I'm saying? Because really, when we're introduced to Saiyans and DBZ, like, bro, they're not the most honorable people. Like, they don't care about one of them dying. Shoot, we saw Raditz how he died. They didn't. Nappa and Vegeta didn't care. Vegeta killed Nappa. So I'm like, where's the sense of love with these mugs? And in Bardock's like, he's avenging his boys and girl in the group. So it's like, yeah, this is a character I can get jiggy with, man. He got some sense of pride and honor. So that scene's always gonna go hard to me, man. Like, and I know he ain't have really no business going against the Dorian and friends, because Dorian and friends would most definitely would have did him dirty, but for the most part, it's very enjoyable. That's always going to be my favorite part.
My favorite version, personally, of Bardock would have to be As wild as it sounds, Dragon Ball Z Bardock. And it's for a very silly reason, but it's one that stands true to just how I view characters and how character roles are important to me.
Yeah.
Team Bardock as a unit is how I remember Bardock.
Oh,
And Bardock without Team Bardock just doesn't feel complete to me. I mean, I do understand his role in the series overall is as Kakarot's father, Raditz's father, Guinea's husband, right? But I don't know, man. Something about that commander in battle who is right there, you know what I'm saying, breaking bread with his people, man. You know what I'm saying? He's like, yo, yeah, my son got born, but what's the next mission?
Yeah,
when we going out to the next planet, man, we got some ass to kick, bro. Something about Bardock being, I don't know, I can't think of a better term to use, the Red Ranger of his group, right?
Yeah. I see the vision. I see it.
It just makes sense to me. It's like, like that's a guy that they're gonna follow in battle. They will go straight into hell for this man. Why? Not because he's the toughest, not because he's the guy who's clearly the leader and commander of the unit, but because they respect that man like that. Because think about when they all got killed and Tora is in Bardock's arms and he's like, yo, show him what the fuck a Saiyan is about. He knew Bardock was going into a fight that he was not going to be able to face off and just come out of easily. But he said, show them what the fuck we're about. And I fuck with that version of Bardock so much.
Yeah, man, I get it. I get it completely.
Which is wild because my favorite Bardock moments are of Bardock fighting against Gas on Planet Cereal.
Yeah.
It's a completely different character, but something about this new rendition saying, yo, like I fight for the conviction of why would I believe I'm not gonna win?
Yeah.
That right there is my shit. Like when you are facing off against a moment of adversity that stands between you and whatever your goal is, whether it be beating somebody, whether it be winning something, whether it be committing yourself to relinquishing a goal for your own, saying, I'm not going to picture any other outcome other than me on top. That's some shit right there.
It's some real shit, brother.
It's some real, like, it's a way you can carry into your own way of life as long as you're not being an asshole and stepping on other people.
Yeah.
The idea that, I should win at anything that I'm dedicating myself to is a strong sense of conviction. I really, really, really fuck with Dragon Ball Super Bardock for that reason too.
Hell yeah, man.
He's such an interesting character, like we said today. So many different versions of him, all with certain similar core traits, but their paths are all different. One ends way too early. One goes through time and space itself. And then another, of course, we know how his ends, but we're given more context as to how he was the person who he was. Nevertheless, each and every single one is a great example for someone who would be Kakarot's father, if you ask me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, none of them are less or more believable as the man who would go on to lay down that groundwork for who Kakarot would become in the Son Goku. All of them got something about them that's like, yeah, no, this is definitely Goku's dad.
Yeah, they all stand out well.
Attest to the true pride of the Saiyan race, man. And it's been so dope being able to go over the very varied yet brief histories and stories of Bardock, man. But I tell you what, just like how Bardock was seen as the legend of the Super Saiyan when he faced off against Chilled in the episode of Bardock next week, we will be going over that very legend itself. And not just the legend of the Super Saiyan. No. We're going to be breaking down every form of Super Saiyan.
Oh, buddy.
So, all my power scalers out there.
Oh, man.
For you, baby. That's right. Dee and I are going to do the one thing that we hate the most, power scale. We're going to go over everything you need to know about every single form of Super Saiyan that has been released thus far in the Dragon Ball mediums. And it's going to be a really great time. I hope y'all join back in as we go through the legend and forms of the Super Saiyan next week. And we definitely hope that y'all enjoyed our coverage on the Father of Goku as well this week. But until next time, you know what it is. It's your boy Jay.
It's your boy D.
And subs lie, dubs lie, but we do not. We out this bitch.
Later, my guys.
Peace.